Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have a really great webinar today. We're going to be talking about accessibility tools for remote learning. My name is Tasha Burke-Peart with the Department of Educational Technology, and I am here with...
Hi there, everybody. My name is Siobhan McManus, and I'm with the Exceptional Student Education Department.
And we, once again, are really excited that you're here because there's a couple of things that Siobhan is going to go over in terms of making sure that your virtual classrooms are accessible for all of your students. A couple of housekeeping things first. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We do have members of the EdTech team there, and you'll know that they're moderators because they have a little wrench by their name, and they're there answering questions. There's about a 20-second delay between this live stream and the questions. So from time to time, they may pop some questions out at us so that we'll have an opportunity to answer them for you. I also want to make sure that you know that this is being recorded. And this recording is going to be on our website as well as our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is right down below, so you can hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our webinars. We do have a lot of really good things planned for us during this remote working period. We also have the recordings on our website, which is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. And at the very top right, you'll see something called live stream resources. And we built out a page for the support documents for all of the webinars that we do. You'll find tutorials and additional blog posts and anything that you need to help you be successful on whatever page that you go to. So I am just going to right now turn it over to Siobhan, and I'll come back later because she has a lot of really good stuff to show.
Thank you, Tasha. I appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about accessibilities. And we want to make sure when we're working with students with disabilities that we are offering them materials in ways that they can perceive them. So we want to make sure that if we have students who are visually impaired, or if we have students who are deaf or hard of hearing, that they are able to access materials, as well as students who may have reading issues, reading difficulties, and also for our students who are physically impaired. So we want to make sure that we're giving the opportunity to all students. So we have a lot of tools that are available right in our school district. And when we talk about Google, I mean, Google is our friend. And when we talk about Google Docs, we can look immediately at how we can zoom on different docs. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to take a Google Doc. And the things we're going to do is we're going to talk about enlarging your screen, reducing your screen, and then how to get back to it, and then how we can change the font size and the style in a toolbar at the top of your screen. So if I come to this document, I don't know about you, but I think it might be difficult for some students to see that. So by using a control and the plus sign, I can make this bigger. And that is simply using the control plus sign. If I want to make it smaller, I can use control minus. If I want to make it really big, I can, but say, oh my gosh, that is so big, I cannot see it at all. I can click Control 0, and it will take it back to its original form. So again, that's using Control 0 to go back to the original, Control plus to make it larger, and Control minus to make it smaller. If I have specific students that I want to make something larger, I can highlight and I can come over to the font size and I can make it bigger. I'm going to make this 18. So now for a student who's visually impaired or for a student who may just need to have things larger, it's available. I can also come in and I can change the font. If I come over to where it says New Time or Times New Roman, I can come down to Comic Sans, for instance, and suddenly I have an A that looks like the way a student makes it, as well as a G. And if I find the G in here, right here is a G. So you can, just by using some simple clicks of the mouse, you can change how your page looks for a student. I can also come in, and if I want to, I can change the text color. And that might be easier for some students. And when I'm finished, I can simply come back. I can put it to where it was, and I was in New Times Roman. And now it's back to where it was. Oh, almost. And I can change my text color back. So that's one nice quick way that you can make some changes to your pages. Another thing that's a really good feature of Google is voice typing. And I don't know how many of you have tried this, but this is like the cat's meow. So I am going to go to a new Google Doc. And if I want to do voice typing, I follow these simple steps. I go to Tools. I go down to where it says Voice Typing. And you will see a microphone. Now, in order to do this, you need to make sure you have a microphone. And if your students or your children are using a Google Chromebook or any kind of a Chromebook, they have to just make sure that they activate the microphone. So when I want to do my typing or my voice typing, I click the microphone. And now you see it has turned red, period. When I use this feature, I am able to speak what I want to type, period. It's important to know what you want to say prior to using this feature, period. When you're finished, all you have to do is click on the microphone and you'll be done, period. So as you can see, I was easily able to do my typing. And this is really great for our reluctant writers. So it's a great way to make sure that students are getting their work done. Again, you would go to Tools, and then you would come down to Voice Typing. Another feature that I find is very important when you're using Google Slides, especially in presentations, if you have students that are hearing impaired in your classroom, you would need to make sure that you turn on the closed captioning. And I'm going to try to do that. And right now, I think I might have, hang on one second. I'm going to come down to my closed captioning. I click on it, and suddenly you can see that it is capturing everything that I say. One of the things that doesn't happen is it does not provide any punctuation. When I'm in here, I can go to my closed captioning, and there's a caret next to it. I can drop it down, and I can change my text position from the top to the bottom. I can also use that caret. I can drop my caret, and I can change my text size. So depending on the needs of my students, I can adjust my Google Slides. And I just think that's a super, super simple way to do this. Oh, hang on one second. There we go. And now we're going to go to Google Translate. Have you ever, excuse me, in Google Translate, have you ever had a website that you wanted to go ahead and you wanted to translate, but you certainly don't have that kind of power? If I go in to Wikipedia, you will notice up on the top of my screen, I have a lot of little icons. Those are Chrome extensions. When I use Chrome extensions, I can change what happens on the screen. So, for instance, I have a nice story here, a nice article here about Florida, but I have some students that don't speak English, and they want to read this article as well. I can simply do a right click on this article, and I have to make sure my Google Translate is activated first. Hang on one second. Okay. All right, I'm going to do a right click, and I'm looking for my Google Translate that doesn't seem to be here right now. You can always count on technology, right? I click on my Google Translate, and now I can translate this to a different language, such as Haitian Creole. And it has changed it. Another thing that we can use, let me go back, is if you do that right click, it will change it to the language that you want. So in this instance, I have a different article, and it has changed it to Spanish. So again, you would click on Google Translate, you would choose what language you want, and it will automatically change it for you. Another extension that I have to say is my favorite extension is Read and Write for Google Chrome. This is an extension that is available to all students in Palm Beach County, and right now it's providing the following features. It has word prediction, it has a dictionary, it has a picture dictionary, it has a play, a pause, and a stop button, so you have your text to speech. It also provides what's called a screenshot reader. So if you have what's called locked text or a PDF, it will read it. You can also create an MP3 audio for it. You can do some web search. You can do voice typing. It also has a translator, and it provides highlighting. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Wikipedia, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to highlight some text. I'm going to click on this purple puzzle piece up at the top. That's a Chrome extension. You have to download it. And when I click on it, I'm going to get this toolbar. This toolbar can be moved, so you can put it where the student sees it best. And when I use it, I can click I've done a little highlighting. I click play.
Florida's $1.0 trillion.
And what it is doing is it is doing something called dual highlighting. In dual highlighting, it will highlight the sentence in one color, and it will do each word as it goes along. Unfortunately, because of the way our technology is set up, you can't hear it. I'm listening to it. But when you're doing this, you will be able to hear it. Some of the features in here also include options. And one of the options is you can control the rate of speech. You can also choose what voice you want. So if you have a student who may be from a different country, and perhaps they would do better if they had a different accent, you could choose one with an accent. So those are some of the options that you have within this extension. Some of the other really cool things about this extension is that you can come in and do some different highlighting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight some of the different bodies of water that they're going to talk about. One of the bodies of water they're going to talk about is a gulf. And I'm going to highlight that in yellow. And they're also going to talk about the ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight ocean. And they're also going to talk about the lake. You know, we all know Lake Okeechobee. So I'm going to come in here and look for Lake Okeechobee, which I know is here. I'm going to highlight lake. So now I have some bodies of water. And then I'm going to talk about some of the attractions of Florida. Some of the attractions, of course, are our amusement parks. And I'm going to highlight amusement parks. I know this seems a little lengthy that I'm doing this, but I'll show you why. And you're going to get a big wow factor. We also have Kennedy Space Center. And then we also have some famous authors that have lived here. So we have Marjorie Rawlings. I'm going to make her blue, and Ernest Hemingway. So do you notice I'm doing a little bit of a theme here? Different parts of interest that there are. So I've got people, I've got places. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of our animals. So we have alligators. I'm going to make them pink. And we have the flamingos, also pink. And we have panthers. And we have manatees, which are different in Florida. All right. So if I'm a student, I'm doing some research, and I'm writing a report about Florida, and I have highlighted some information, I can then come over to the right-hand side, and you will see these arrows. With these arrows, I can collect my highlights, and watch what happens when I do. I'm going to say OK to collecting highlights. And what's going to happen is it's going to create another document. And what that document has done is it has organized my highlights, and I can use that if I'm writing a report on Florida. What I really like about this is that it cites where I got my information and who gathered this information. So if you have students that you want them to show where they got their information, this is a nice document to have. So again, this is the highlighting feature in Read and Write for Google Chrome. Another thing that I really like is I can come in and I can pick a word and I can look it up. Here is a dictionary. And it gives me a dictionary. It gives you definitions that can be read to the students, because a lot of our students, they might look up a word, but maybe they still can't read what the definition is. So that's really helpful. Another thing that's provided is something called a picture dictionary. And I think this is a great tool for students who might need that visual assistance. Let me see if I can get it to click here. And I go to my picture dictionary, and it shows me a picture of an ocean. That's not a really good one. Let's see if I can find a better one. Let's look for a panther. Highlight that panther. I'm going to go to the picture dictionary, and it shows me a picture. So for a lot of our younger students who might need to have those visuals, that can be very helpful. Another thing that, and as I said, here's your play button, your pause, and your stop button. When you use the play button and you pause it, it stops wherever you were. When you click play again, it starts right from where you left off. But if you do hit the stop button, you will have to go back to the beginning in order to get things moving. Another thing that this will do is it will read, it's called Screenshot Reader. And if I click Screenshot Reader and I highlight, it's going to read what I've highlighted.
Florida, FLRD about this
And again, it's going to keep reading until I hit that stop sign. Another thing it will do, as I said, it will make an audio maker. All you have to do is you highlight it and you click on the audio maker, and it will create an MP3 file for you. And it's working on it right now. And now it has made a file. Another feature that can be really helpful, this is if you're going to do some research, you can look for things in the internet. But for today, I want to look at more of the accessibility features. So the next thing I want to show you is the screen masking. Screen masking is just what it says. Just like you take a piece of paper and you hide some text on a page, you can do the same thing with the screen masking. This is really helpful for some of our students who may need assistance keeping track, or for students who have issues with tracking. Helps with focus as well. So again, that's called the screen mask. Just like with Google Docs, you can do some voice typing if you are doing a paper. Again, you can do some translating. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the word country and I click translate. And here we go, it's in different languages. I would have to specify in my options what language I want it to go into. And we also have, again, we have our highlighters. I can also clear all of my highlighting, which I'm going to do in a few minutes. But the reason I didn't do it is one of the really nicest tools in here, in my opinion, is if I highlight this document and I've got some highlighting done in here, I can create a vocabulary list. And this is how I do it. I click vocabulary and it is creating a list for me. It takes a minute. And now what it's done is it has taken some of those words that I've highlighted and it has created a vocabulary list for my students. Here's the word that I had highlighted. Here are the meanings of it. And sometimes it will even give you a symbol. Here's the ocean. Here's a lake. Here's a flamingo. I guess I didn't highlight the whole alligator, but here's a flamingo and a panther. So it has taken some of the words that it can find the vocabulary for, and it has created the vocabulary list. And to me, this is huge for a lot of our students that struggle with reading, and especially for our students who are ESOL, our students of other languages. I think it's very helpful for them as well.
Hi, Siobhan. I'm going to hop
Yes.
on real quick.
Sure.
There is a quick question. Can you control the width of the screen mask, or is it like just it takes the whole side, the screen mask you were showing just a second ago on that toolbar? Mm-hmm. Does it control the whole thing, or can you like make it only a portion, or?
If I go into the options for read and write, if I go into that options over here by the 3 dots, if I click on options and I go to screen masking, I can actually control the color. And I think I can, yes, I can do the height. So I can do the height a little bit less, I believe.
So it'll still be the bar across the screen.
Yes.
It's just, like you wouldn't be able to do like a triangle or a square in the corner, but you can do the height. Okay.
Yeah, I was able to just make that a little bit smaller. I don't know that I can do it single line. I think it would depend on how big the text itself is.
Yep, that's
but
okay.
Yes, again, you would go into the options on the far right, click on options, go to screen masking. Let's see if I make this height a little bit smaller.
Great question, though, Tiana. Thank you so much for asking.
Question. Yeah, that's a great question. So let me try that one again. It seems to be like 1 to 2, like 2. I think you can get it down a little further.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's going to be very helpful for a lot of our students. That was a good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, keep going.
Okay. So as I said, you can make that vocabulary, and you can also simplify the page. Oh, before I do that, remember I pointed out this clear highlighting paintbrush? I'm going to come in, I'm going to highlight my whole document, and I can take out all of the highlighted features there. I can take out all those words that I have highlighted. I can also simplify this page, and all I have to do is click on it. And now what it's done is it's taken away some of the extraneous information. So the things that were on the side, there's another extension called Immersive Reader that I think does as good a job. But if you are in Read and Write and you want to just clean up that page a little bit, this would be how you do it. Okay. So that's how you would simplify. And then this practice reading aloud, that's really for building fluency. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't used it very much, but this would be where the students would be able to practice reading. And they would record themselves, so they can click the record button to get started. And as they would do so, they would come in here and let's go down to, I'm going to come down to first European contact. If I click on it, oh, and it doesn't seem to want to work. Okay, we're not, oh, here we go. The first European contact was made in 1513 by Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon, who called it La Florida, the land of flowers. I can stop. And then I can send this to my teacher. So if you have students that you want to hear their reading, you can have this sent to you. I think that's a pretty cool feature that they offer. So just with this one toolbar, you have all of those accessibility features that can really help our students who have disabilities. There are a couple of other things on here I didn't show you, only because these are writing features. We have word prediction. Oh, this is hover speech. I forgot to see. If I click on hover speech, wherever I hover, it's going to start reading.
2017,
I can come over here.
Personal income was
Stop it. Okay. So that's your hover speech. Wherever you go, that's what it's going to do. Any questions on read and write for Google Chrome? I really feel this is one of our better options for students with disabilities. And I know I'm from New York and I speak quickly and I can't help that sometimes. I get excited. Okay, then let's go back. All right, Immersive Reader. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Immersive Reader, but I'm going to come out of here for just a minute. I'm going to take you to Immersive Reader. I'm going to go to my home page.
Hey, Siobhan, real quick,
Sure.
just a quick question back with read and write. If you wanted to use some of the features and save the highlights with the immersive, with read and write,
yes,
are there ways to save those highlights other than creating the vocab list?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay, good to know.
No, I'm sorry. Yes, you can. Hold on one second. Let me get
highlight something.
So I'm just going to randomly just highlight a couple of things here. I'm just going to do a few things. Yeah. I'm going to do highlight. Too many blue text here. And then I'm going to do some other highlights. So how you can save this otherwise, you're going to go to this little circle of the colored arrows on the right-hand side of the highlighters. Those are your collect highlights. When you click on that, it's going to say, what colors do you want to collect? I always say collect all of them. I say, okay. And then it's going to give you a Google Doc. So those will be saved on a Google Doc. You do not have to make a vocabulary list.
Awesome. There we go.
But that's a super, super easy way to collect the highlights. And it's, as I said, it's great for kids who are writing reports. It's really good if you want them to read a story and then they have to, highlight the main idea, some supporting details. So there are a lot of uses for that. But I really think that this read and write toolbar is it just offers so many features for students and teachers love it.
Another question is, can you save it as an interactive web page? And my guess is the answer is no. Like you can't highlight them and then share that with another student. And
no, not
it's all on your own computer right now. That's a more powerful feature, especially for a free extension.
Absolutely. And right now, this is free through the end of the year, and it is the text-to-speech features are available at all times for students. Right now, the whole program is available to all students. I will tell you that all teachers get a free full version. We're hoping that they'll keep this free as long as we can keep it. But please have your kids use this. We think this is an awesome extension. I will say from the ESE department, we use this quite a lot with a lot of our students, and I highly recommend it.
I'll say, as a former reading teacher, all students could use this. This is definitely not just an ESE tool. No. I'm sure as you're watching, you could see how a lot of your different students could benefit, not just your ESE students.
Absolutely.
I do want to kind of make a short caveat. We are hitting Google we're going to be doing a Chrome, our top 10 Chrome extensions on Friday. There are some questions about extensions as a whole. So there are a couple of links that the moderators have posted. There are approved Google extensions, Chrome extensions there's a list for teachers and students that are approved. Now, if you're on your own personal device, you can install as many as you want, obviously. But once you're back on the district machines, there are ones that we whitelist because some of them are not good, to say the least. Some of them are malicious. So the district tries to protect its computers that way. But if you do see one that you love, you could always reach out to the ed tech team and we could see if we could get it whitelisted. But go ahead, take a look. Dana posted the approved Chrome extension list. Go ahead and take a look. There's lots of great extensions. We'll share more on Friday, but I wanted to just make sure people understood that these are installed on your machine. You have to install them. Your students would have to install them as well. But all you have to do is make an assignment in your classroom and post the link and say, please install this, and they'll be able to have access to it. So, all right, go ahead. Immersive Reader is my favorite, so go ahead.
I know. I'm a big fan. I feel this has been a game changer for our school district. I'm so excited that they've actually let us have it. Yay!
Yes. So I will let you continue.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my district portal page. And if you don't have Office 365, this is what it looks like right here. If you don't have it, you simply have to go up to your search applications at the top of the page and just type in Office 365 and it will pop up. I've already got it, so I don't need it to pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. This is a game changer, especially for teachers that use Microsoft Word on a regular basis. I know that in my past life in the classroom, which was not that many years ago, I did a lot of work in Microsoft Word. I used to struggle with how can I provide things to my students that were accessible. So this is the online version of the Microsoft Suite. You'll see that it has OneDrive, it has Word, it has Excel and PowerPoint. It has OneNote that I know a lot of our teachers and classes use. It has SharePoint, it has Teams, Class Notebook, Sway, and Forms. Today, we're just going to look at Word. Now, when I think about Word, I think about how am I going to present documents to students that they can read? I have a lot of students that have difficulty with reading. They have difficulty with focus. They have a lot of difficulties with reading in general. So if I wanted to, I can come over here to where it says upload and open. This is where I would go if I have a document that I want to put into Word, because this is the online version. I want to make sure you understand. This is the online version of Word. This is not Word that's been installed into your computer by your ITSA or your tech coordinator. So I would come in here, I would upload and open a document. But as you can see, I've already got my documents here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my document about bats. I think you saw this earlier when I showed you some of the tricks and tips in Google, the Google Docs. When I'm in here, and I know this is just way too much text for my students to see, you'll notice the ribbon on the top is similar, but it's not exactly the same as you've seen in regular Word. And I'm going to show you the two huge differences. When I go into View, I click on it, and I have, of course, the zoom, and I have navigation and headers and footers, but there's something here called Immersive Reader. When I click on Immersive Reader, I want you to just watch the screen, watch that document, and watch what happens to it. I click on Immersive Reader, and suddenly it has taken up the entire page. I can make changes to this document that are so simple, and everything you need to know is right up here in the right-hand corner. The first thing I can do is I can change the text size. I can make it smaller, or I can make it really big. I can play with the spacing. If I need more space between the words and the lines, I just click on that spacing button. That's the before, and this is the after. I can also, down here, change the font. I can leave it as it is, or I can go and look for, let's see, do you make your A's like this one here? Or do you make your G's like this one down here at Young? I know I don't. So I can change my font to these 3 different fonts. And unfortunately, they don't give you a ton of choices, which is okay, because sometimes we get caught up in, let's get fancy and, let's keep it simple. That's my feeling. Another thing we can do is we can change the color of the background. Now, this is extremely helpful for our students who have visual impairments. We have some students that are visually impaired that need to have white on black. And then I can make my text bigger. And I might want to change that font a little bit to make it a little crisper for them. I have tons of colors that I can choose from. I just click down here where it says more colors. Depending on what your students need, you can change this background. And I always think it's best to have the students choose what color works best for them. Another, just a word of caution I will give is that if you use these colors, you do not want to print from this color or you will use up all of your background color ink. So when you want to print, make sure you go back to white. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to just put my font down a little bit. And now I want to go to my next set of features, which is your grammar options. So for all of you teachers that are working on grammar, I can have the students come in and identify their nouns in one color. I can do verbs in a different color. Another feature that I really like is if I am teaching reading, I can break these words up by syllable. There's a syllable button right here under that book. Here's where it's turned off, and now I turn on the syllables. Pretty cool. The last thing I want to show you, first let me turn off those nouns and verbs. The last thing I want to show you is some of the reading preferences. And I love this because just like with the visor or the screen, the screen masking, you can do the same thing in Immersive Reader. And all I did was I clicked on the book and I did line focus. That's a single line. I can also do 3 lines at a time. But when you do it, you have to use these arrows on the right side to make it go up or down. So again, another nice feature. Another feature, and those of you that may be familiar with Boardmaker, which is a communication symbols, if I click on my picture dictionary, I can come in and I can find the word bat. And when I click on it, I get 3 different pictures of what a bat is. I can also come into a bite. It doesn't give me a picture, but if I click on insanity, nope, that's not going to do it. How about people? It's not going to do all of them, but it will do some of the pictures.
People.
So again, that's the picture dictionary. Again, I can come in and I can have this translated. We have many, many languages that we can have this translated into. So for those of you that send information home to parents, if you have children whose parents do not speak English, you can give your document and you can have it translated. You do not necessarily have to wait for your language facilitator to come and do it for you. I can also do it in Spanish. Let me go there, go by document. So you can see there's some really nice features here. Turn that off. And those are some of the biggest features, but the number one feature that people seem to like is the fact that I can have text to speech. So when I click the play button,
People may be afraid of
I can make some changes right next to it, our voice settings. And when I click on that, I can have it be a female. I can make it go a little faster.
Areas. These areas may seem scary, but you don't need to hear that.
So why I like that is you can slow it down or speed it up depending on your students. And I have found that some students, if you speed it up just a little bit, it does help them with their fluency. Again, it highlights the words one by one as they're reading. So in a nutshell, that's Immersive Reader. And I know that we are getting close to time here. So let me go back. And here is just real quickly a recap of the things that are available in Immersive Reader. So again, it's in your district portal. It provides text preferences, grammar options, reading preferences, as well as text-to-speech. And I think we're getting close to the part where we have questions. So
Yeah.
this is our time for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like most of the questions have been answered in the chat box. Great. There was a question on SLSO, which is the Smart Learning Suite Online, and the read and write, and it looks like that the screenshot reader will work with SLSO. Thank you, Akia, for one of our smart people for sharing that. So
thank you.
Yeah, so go ahead, Tasha. We'll let you finish up here.
Okay, so I just wanted to point out a couple of things. First of all, just like John said, the tools that Siobhan just went over, it's not just for a certain population of students. This is for all of us. I mean, I was literally blown away looking at Read and Write and also Immersive Reader, because there are tools that even I feel like I can use. So please, I encourage you to look at that. And the slide deck will be posted on our website. And we did put the links to the Read and Write and also Google Translate Chrome extensions. So it's just a link that you can click on to get that extension. I also want to let you know that we put some additional resources down here for you. As with all of our webinars, if you have any questions, reach out, and we love to, try to answer the questions. If we can't answer the questions, we'll find somebody who can answer your question in terms of accessibility tools. Today we have a full day planned. We have our smart trainers doing a lunch and learn, and I really am excited to have them go over some of the wonderful things about SLSO and how you can use that in your remote learning environment. And then also our Adobe evangelist, Tanya Avereth, will be back this afternoon talking about HyperDocs. That's the same presentation as we did before, but we're happy to have her because I know she's very busy to come back again. And then on Friday, we have a teacher panel, which we're really excited about. And we also have our top 10 Chrome extensions, which Rebecca and John are going to be talking to us about. And we've just been really busy. Today, we have our Twitter chat, and we're going to do it at 3:30 today. And the topic today is best practices for remote learning. So please join us on our Twitter chat. The hashtag is PVC Trailblazer Chat, and we look forward to hearing your best practices so far, what you found work, what doesn't work, for remote learning, because we're all doing this together and we're trying to make sure that we're doing the right thing for our kids. Finally, if you need assistance with anything, we have a form. It's a bit.ly help form EdTech, and it is case sensitive. There are several of us who are monitoring that. So we're here for you just to help you through this time. And I think that's about all my announcements. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. That was awesome. And
happy to be here
later on today for our Lunch and Learn, Twitter chat, and Tanya.